You rather have to chill. Yeah, she's lovely. Sure. Put your money in for you. Okay. Charlie, give me. Hello, Ah, this is that to say. Good. Mom, tell me. All right, thank you. Push up. Au revoir. Au revoir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Mercy. Everybody want only you to buy. Settings na doors.
requirement was met, even if parties were consistent in filing and disclosing money that they can't disclose, the truth is that it still doesn't address or give us a holistic picture of how financing of the process works more generally. And to have that disaggregated view of how the finances operate, to be able to tell you what we can institutionally fix and what we can morally fix. Because if it is about the kinds of money that are going into, say, the system, it means that the kind of tracing mechanisms, the kind of being able to verify income and all of those things might work. But if it is about the things that become embedded into qualification mechanisms, so for instance, if you want to contest for an election, your ability to raise and distribute funds is viewed now as whether or not you're prepared for leadership. So it's not about qualification, but you have money itself becomes a qualifier. And socially, we've been conditioned then to view who has a better purse as the person who is better prepared for leadership. And so because it has then viewed this up with a cultural understanding of who is a better leader, a better politician, those I don't know how to fix that, even by finance. Right? So those views about who is a better leader or who can be, I don't know whether law can capture it. And that's something we have to reflect on, I guess.
So what do we do?
So I think for me that there are many ways in which we have to be able to understand the political competition instead of weaponize it. An example I've given is that if you say to candidates that any person who is found to have paid money or given money on your behalf of your campaign will automatically be disqualified. You will set, for example, politicians against each other. So all they might do is that they might plan someone within their camp in your systems and be able to document evidence of you paying money to somebody and provide that as proof to disqualify. So somehow we must be able to weaponize how the structure of the system itself works, to be able to incentivize those who are looking for gains out of that system to be disincentivized from it. Perhaps for me that's the best, the earliest indication. So that if a delegate came to you and said, is asking you for money, you are twice unsure whether or not this is the person who is a potential whistleblower, who might get you disqualified, or in fact somebody who is supposed to have influence. That uncertainty can do a lot to reduce the willingness to participate in the process. But there's also the cost, which, in terms of what Stephen is talking about, which it will continue to grow. In terms of the logistics aspect of political campaign finance, those are not necessarily corrupt ways of corrupting the electoral process, but the logistics of vehicles, motorbikes, flyers, and all those costs that are going to the political messaging. Even as we become logistically better connected, it might go into how much you're spending on publicity or advertising. Those costs continue to rise, and those one will also have an effect in terms of political participation of persons who are genuinely interested in contributing but cannot raise even the financing cost of legitimate way of doing political campaigning. Those might not be captured in an anti-corruption conversation, but they do undermine democracy in itself because it affects participation generally.
So, Mr. Sejamin, you have attempted to rein in the errant politicians who, perhaps part of the quotation you gave during your speech, where we have come to a point of, is it a deliberate sort of ignoring the consequences of corruption? So recently, Ghanaians were surprised. All over on social media, the commentary was that, but we all saw this video, and this man was paying money to be elected. The special prosecutor brought this to the court, and the judge says he's not guilty. We have seen other such circumstances where you have attempted to intervene. Do you think we are sufficiently prepared to win the fight against corruption in political financing?
Not yet. We need to step back, way back, and view the problem carefully. We admit it's a problem, but I do not think we understand the problem yet. And that is why I'm saying we should step back a bit and do better lenses, look at the problem carefully. Because there are some fundamental indices which hard lurking in the background, which may come back to haunt us. What my Mother Mary and my Oliver, he was also my former student. As my former student Oliver said, we need to carefully delineate what we are addressing. The money that go into the delegate system, the money that go into the cost of running a campaign is something that is separate from what you are giving to people by way of trying to influence them to vote for you, which we decry. And then again, we need to look carefully at what we are regulating, the political parties themselves, or the candidates, or both. Because it would seem to me now that we are merely regulating the political parties. We are not regulating the candidates. As the earlier speaker said, the money is really moving around the specific candidates. I mean, indeed, the political parties are artificial legal persons. But the focus has been on them. Let me leave that for now. I'll revisit it in a minute. Now, the political parties, what forms of sanctions are we looking at to impose on them? And we can borrow from what is in the Act now. But if we go far to say maybe let's disqualify one political party or the other because of the infraction of fiscal and financial rules. In respect of disqualification of political parties when their forms are not filled out right, you would agree with me that it's only being enforced in respect of minor political parties. Now, I bet you, if we transpose the same idea to political party financing, Ghanaians are asking, try disqualifying the New Patriotic Party. Try disqualifying the presidential candidates thereof, also of the National Democratic Congress. Civil war. It is one of the indices lurking in the background, and we need to be careful how we go about this. Otherwise, we throw the baby out with the bathwater. Then, when it comes to the delegate system, I think we need not just laws. We also need the active participation and willingness of the major political parties. Because we cannot legislate, I do not think, for political parties in respect of how they run their delegate system. I mean, that would be far too intrusive. So you will recall that in respect of the two major political parties, they had a very tight-knit delegate system before it spread out to thousands of people. But even then, there is still the avenue of influencing the system through the way of selecting these throngs of people from the various polling station areas. And so we need the input of the major political parties in respect of extending their delegate system. And don't beat me up. What if we encourage them? Why not allow everyone to show up to vote? Whether a party member or a non-party member in this constituency, we are being primary say, come and vote. Whether you can influence the number of people who come to vote for you, will tell by way of your bank account. You will go past. All I'm saying is, let us make it unattractive and hugely costly. You will not attempt it. Then we have the very lingering question of what the definition of public elections. I said the Office of the Special Prosecutor was not going to wait for a proper definition of public elections before we go into vote buying, vote selling. Because there is this whole argument at the back that when it comes to internal party politics, those are not covered by the Act. And we did our examination and permutations and said, okay, you can offer yourself up as an accused person. We will come after you. Offer yourself up as a test case accused person, and we'll try the law. And that is why we kept going very deep down in respect of the internal party primary structures. Because otherwise, we would have just folded our hands and just given up to say, oh, because there's this debate as to the non-finiteness of the definition, we're not going to act. So we need to also look at that very carefully as to what amounts to public elections. And don't beat me up again, I would say, let's spread it out. Even SRC elections in schools. Yes.
What's the amendment for?
SRC elections. I mean, this is not your home. You are not standing for elections in respect of a domestic setting. Looks elections, UTAG elections. Let's spread it out. Well, that's where it starts from.